All right, now we're recording. Okay. A lot of this stuff is really fascinating. Ships, customs, and courtesies have to do with tradition. There's a lot of tradition, but in the Navy, we have a lot of traditions. And one of the really cool things, I'll give you an example. My son, my middle son, John, he's a soldier, which means he's in the National Guard. He would either, if he were a soldier, he'd be either in the Army Reserve, or the National Guard. He's in the National Guard. But one of the things that John really, really wanted to be part of the Navy over is the traditions that we have. We have really, really cool traditions. If you guys stay in the program and you get to become chiefs or officers, there's an opportunity, hopefully next year, to go to a dining in. A dining in is an opportunity for, it's a special dinner that we have in the evenings, that we have on a particular evening. And it's a nice meal, and you get to meet other people from other schools. You get to do some entertainment. There's a lot of little different antics and things like that we do, but there's a lot of traditions that we have that go on during a dining in. There are also, in the actual Navy, a dining in is reserved for officers. It's not for chiefs or other enlisted people. And also, too, it's just for the officers. It's not, their spouses don't come. If they have a dining out, that's different. A dining out, then it's still just the officers, but there's, spouses can come to that and that type of thing. What I love, though, I enjoy the Marine Corps mess night, though. Marine Corps mess night is a tradition I really, really like. It was, in my time in the service, it was probably the most fun event I have, forced fun event I have ever been to. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. And when we have time, I'll tell you more about it, but I'm not going to tell you here during this class. Yes, sir? Yes, we were forced to go to it. Yeah, everybody in the squadron had to attend. We had assigned seating, and it didn't matter, officer enlisted, it didn't matter. We were in alphabetical order, and we all marched in, and it was military, and then we stopped, and then they say, center, and then everybody would turn and face the tables. And we'd stand at attention, and I can't remember what happened next, and then they'd say, seats! And we sat down, and we'd sit at attention, and they, just like we do here in class. And then we could move around. Yeah?
So, was it like, so it was a mandatory thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And y'all had to do all this stuff. When was the fun part?
That is, just because they're making you do something, doesn't mean it's not fun.
No, like, did y'all get in trouble? That's how did y'all get in trouble for, like, if y'all didn't do it?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Did something wrong?
Oh, yes. You could get in trouble if you blew it off.
Or, like, you did something wrong? Did you get in trouble for?
If you did something wrong, the trouble you got in was more traditional fun stuff. So it's more traditional fun stuff. But I'll tell you guys, if we have time later, I'll tell you the whole spiel. I'll tell you as much as I can about it. So, all right? Ships, customs, and courtesies. Again, we identify the ships of the Navy and understand how they fulfill the Navy mission. We're going to list types of Navy ships and describe shipboard customs and courtesies. The types of Navy ships we're going to talk about, I think, we're going to be talking about auxiliary ships and like amphibious ships and other combatants. Okay. 2 to 3 functions that support war operations at sea that are not directly related to combat. Anybody want to take a guess at this? 2 to 3 functions that support war operations at sea that are not directly related to combat. Go ahead, Dakari. I mean, we're not shooting missiles, we're not shooting guns. Huh? Well, we do like search and rescue. We also do things like we can do some humanitarian missions. That's not combat related. We also can do resupply missions. And those they're mind-blowing. When you see the coordination that it takes for these things, it's mind-blowing. But it's a massive operation. And it's got wires and lines going from ship to ship and pallets being moved from one ship to the next, and either by line or by helicopter. And it's crazy. The whole thing is coordinated. It's like a big concert. It's something else. Really fascinating. All right, so here's an interest question. How interested are you in learning about naval ships? We're going to see who likes NJRTC or not. All right, at least statistically, I'll get to see how many people like it. So, come on now, keep answering. Got 15 of you. Almost there, almost there. Almost there. I think I got another 3 of you. Another 2 of you need to wake up. Come on. Somebody have a problem with their clicker? All right, here we go. All right. Okay. Got 5 who are very high. All right. 6 who like ships, but not necessarily a favorite subject. Can I see the hands of those 11 people? Do you mind? Is that all right? All right. Come on, get them up. It's fine. You don't have to be bashful. I'm not going to call on you or single you out. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. Thanks. I'm just curious to know who enjoys the program. All right. So the commanding officer of a ship is always called what, regardless of rank? I'm going to walk you through these so that we move along. Captain. All right. If Commander Moore was the commanding officer of a mine countermeasure ship, he would be called captain, even though he was a lieutenant commander. His predecessor, Captain Sparks, when he was the commanding officer of, I can't remember the name of the frigate he was the CO of, but he was captain. He was called the captain. And one time I called him Skipper, and he said, and he pulled me aside, he's like, Chief, please don't call me Skipper. I was like, what? And he goes, because he's a black shoe sea captain, they all go by captain. Skipper is actually an aviation term for the commanding officer of a helicopter or a aircraft squadron. I didn't realize that. I didn't know that, but you learn something new every day. And so I was like, I was not aware of that because the commanding officer of HS-15 always referred to him as Skipper. So, all right. Navy ships are known by the category. All right, so let's talk about other combatants. All right, these are like mine warfare ships and amphibious command ships. Mine warfare ships. They're designed to clear mines from vital waterways. There's 2 types of ships. There's a mine countermeasure ship, and then there's a mine hunter. All right, mine countermeasure ships, they use both sonar and video systems to locate mines. They're effective with mines moored to or on the seafloor. They use cable cutters to cut the mines, moorings, and remote control detonating devices to destroy mines. Mine hunters, they are smaller, lighter, and slower than mine countermeasure ships. They are reinforced fiberglass hull for mine sweeping in coastal waters. Underwater lifespan is about 15 days, and it doesn't have a helipad or anything like that. So they'll go out, they'll search for mines, and then they come back in and they resupply. All right. So the interesting thing is too is that we're talking about a warship that has a fiberglass hull. Most hulls on ships are made of steel. Why would you think that a mine countermeasure or a mine hunter would need a fiberglass hull? Why do you think? Anybody want to take a guess? Go ahead, Daniel.
Makes it lighter.
You know, that would make sense. It would. It makes it lighter. Tell me, Victor.
They can't be detected by the mines.
That is almost exactly right. Almost only because the fiberglass, since there's no steel, isn't going to react with anything magnetic, like a magnetic mine. However, there are some mines out there that are acoustic mines. And so if they hear that minesweeper coming through and they hear the mine wakes up and it'll actually launch a torpedo to come out and blow up the ship. So you're, I'm going to say 95% right, but the whole purpose of fiberglass is hey, Sea Commander Moore, I've got a packet of papers for you. You're going to apply to Augusta University, by the way. you're going to apply to Augusta University, and you're going to apply for ROTC over there because they still have a 3-year scholarship, and for kids that aren't putting in for 4 years. Okay. All right. All right. This is a mine countermeasure ship. That's what it looks like. It's little. It doesn't have a helicopter pad. It's got to come in and it's got to come in and get food and fuel and things like that. All right. This is a mine sweeper. This is a mine hunter. And you can see it's even smaller than the mine countermeasure ship. All right, amphibious command ships. Let's talk about these. I know this because of the MAGTAF. Anybody remember what a MAGTAF stands for? What's the M stand for? Huh? Marine. Stands for Marine. What do you think the A stands for? Air. What do you think the G stands for? Ground. And the rest of it's task force. A MAGTAF, Marine Air Ground Task Force. All right, here we go. So amphibious warfare is an attack by naval forces and combat troops launched from the sea. Amphibious ships transport the troops and their weapons and supplies to hostile shores. All right, so this right here is a landing craft, and they're bringing in. This looks like a tugboat almost, but this is some type of an amphibious vehicle. Some kind. I'm not familiar with that one. This right here is an AAV. This is an amphibious assault vehicle. Yes, sir.
I hear the amphibious word. Is it like an amphibian?
Like an amphibian, yes. It comes from the water and then it moves on to land. So, like a frog. A frog is not a reptile; he's an amphibian because he's born in the he's hatched in the he or she is hatched in the water, and then once they get their legs and they lose their gills, then they move up on land. Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna say it's exactly like what I showed you yesterday on the video, but is it something close to like what I showed you?
Yes, it is very close. And the funny thing with these is they still use vehicles like that to bring Marines ashore. So, all right, amphibious warfare usually begins with surface ships and planes bombing hostile shores. Remember me talking about softening up the beach, okay? Then amphibious ships bring in ground forces while landing craft and helicopters move those forces from ship to shore to quickly capture or deny the enemy the use of the land. There are 2 types of amphibious ships. There's an amphibious command ship, of which there are only 2 of one class. And then there are amphibious assault ships. All right, amphibious warfare. This is kind of a cool video.
Because these amphibious ships operate so close to the shore, they're nicknamed gators. These ships carry thousands of Marines and their equipment from ship to shore in jets and helicopters, boats that fly over the water, and armored vehicles that swim.
An alligator is an amphibian, which means we can go through the sea and on land. And with the equipment that we carry, we can do the same thing. What we're tasked to do is go in close to land, as close as we can, to make it a lot easier to put our Marines and their equipment on the beach.
Okay, what was wrong with this video? How was that guy wrong?
He's wrong about type of ship.
Huh?
Was he wrong about type of things they use for the ship?
He was wrong about, remember he was talking about the Gator Navy. That's what we call it too, we call it the Gator Navy. But he said that an alligator is an amphibian. Is that correct?
No, it's
No,
just a
it's not.
reptile because it stays
It's
in
a
the water.
reptile. And they're born on land, but they like to spend time in the water. We wouldn't say that a hippopotamus is an amphibian. It's a mammal. It's a pachyderm mammal, but it's a mammal, right? So anyway, same principle. All right. Amphibious command ships provide command and control for fleet operations. They have become flagships of fleets before too. LHAs, amphibious assault ships, can part, deploy, and land a Marine battalion by helicopters, landing craft, amphibious vehicles, and combinations of these methods. With 5-inch guns and point defensive missiles, can provide shore bombardment and self-defense, but they rely mainly on other ships for defense. All right, this is the Mount Whitney. The other of its class is called the Blue Ridge. There are only 2 LCCs in the American Navy, only 2 of them. It has a heliport back here. It has minimal armament. Doesn't have much. It's got some guns on it. This is an LHD. All right. This is an amazing ship. It's like a small aircraft carrier. They can launch and recover B-22 Ospreys. They have a wet well in the back, so they can drop open the fantail and drop it down in the water, and they can drive AAVs out of the back of that thing, and they'll run, and they'll run into the water, and they got propellers that'll drive them all the way to the beach. They're amazing. All right, amphibious transport dock. Okay, LPDs have the capability to transport embarked troops and their equipment together, and have the facilities to move troops and equipment by landing craft from the stern or by helicopter. So it doesn't have all the capabilities that an LHD does, but it carries a lot of troops. And with this large helipad on the back of it, they can land a couple of big old CH-53s, land there, and they can load up tons of Marines and then pick them up and take them to the beach. Then we have LSDs. An LSD is designed to transport and launch a variety of amphibious craft and vehicles with embarked crew and troops. These ships also have a helicopter platform. So this one has some troops, but it has more equipment than troops. All right. A technique called vertical envelopment involves using helicopters instead of landing vehicles to put troops on the beach. So what happens is, with vertical envelopment, they use helicopters and they fly them and they drop them right at the enemy. And then they go to war. They go to task. Since landing vehicles are more vulnerable to attack, this allows placement of troops more strategically. At the same time, it makes the process of amphibious assault easier and coastal defense significantly more difficult for the enemy. So if we drop a bunch of Marines back by the enemy and we proceed to come towards the beach that way, and we clear the beach, we clear an area so that they can bring assault vehicles up on the beach without them being harmed.
Pardon the interruption. Do you have Victor Westbrook?
I do. Yes?
Would you please send him to Miss Brooks' office with his computer?
I will.
Thank you.
All right, which is an amphibian? Actually, this is not amphibian. Amphibious ships are nicknamed after which of the following animals? That's not an amphibian.
It says it's not open. It says the poll is not open.
You can't answer.
Yeah, it's not open.
You can't answer it?
Not open.
Oh, maybe I hit the button too soon. Let's try again. Nah, the poll is closed off. So which is it?
See?
Let's see. Remember Gator Navy? Remember the Gator Navy? I'm telling you about that. I know the alligator's not an amphibian, but we still call it the Gator Navy. So there it is. All right. All right. In a situation where landing vehicles on a beach would be too risky, which of the following strategies to move personnel and equipment from ships to land might be used? Input all that apply, then push the enter button. Use helicopters to transport personnel and equipment.
It still says it's not open.
Use a technique known as vertical envelopment. Have personnel swim to shore using special scuba gear. Send equipment to shore by remote-controlled amphibious ships.
The poll's not open.
It's not open.
Huh?
It's not open. It says polling closed.
Oh, I bet you it'll happen. Here. Watch this.
No, it isn't.
What is it?
A and B.
Which one?
A and B.
A and B? Let's see.
A and B.
That's what it says. It should.
All right. Well, we know now, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But here's something interesting though. Here, even though this isn't the right answer. So before the Marines land, they have recon Marines that actually do use scuba gear to swim to shore. And then when they get to shore, then they go searching. They go and they recon the area. They go and they figure out where the troops are, where the enemy is, and things like that. But A and B is the correct answer. Good. Oh, only 11 of you are awake? Come on. All right. LHD, 84 feet, 40,358 pounds. All kinds of milk, honey. 20 plus knots, a bunch of crew. But the crew, look at 1,108 people. That's just the Navy crew. That's not including the battalion of Marines that are on there. All right? And the thing that's interesting about the battalion of Marines is they have some Navy troops with them too. And guess who those troops are? I'll give you a hint. It's what I am.
Navy.
I am Navy. I said there's Navy troops. What am I?
A chief.
Yeah, there's some of those, but particularly, what rating would that chief be? Like me.
Captain.
Captain is an officer rank.
What's the first letter?
All right. I'm going to let you say medic, but I'm going to correct you. We're corpsmen. We're not medics. We're corpsmen. All right? They have hospital corpsmen that are assigned to the Marine Corps that are with those Marines. And the irony is that they don't have anything to do except for train like Marines. That's all they got to do. So, anyway, all right, this is the LPD, USS Juneau. All right, and this is an LSD. Remember, this has more, the LPD carries more troops than equipment. The LSD carries more equipment than troops. All right, and then this is an LCAC, landing cushion aircraft, something like that. Landing cushion air or landing craft air cushion. So, anyway, it reads like an MRA description. So, but these are hovercraft. So these things actually fly over the water, and they are actually captained by coxswains. COXSWAIN, pronounced coxswain. It's kind of like forecastle, right? Kind of like forecastle, and how it's spelled funny. I know I'm picking up what I'm putting down. All right. So a coxswain is a boat handler. They're enlisted boat drivers. So, all right. It has 4 gas turbine engines. It can move a ton of stuff, 60 to 75 tons of stuff across the water. That's a lot of weight to carry for something that doesn't float. It flies. It just flies over the water about that high above the water. Like that. All right. This, you remember me telling you about the resupply that happens at sea?
Yeah.
This, my friends, is called replenishment at sea. And we call it for short UNREP. Jonathan, just for posterity's sake, I just told you to wake up and I recorded it. So anyway, UNREP or underway replenishment means that we're cruising along. We're cruising along and we're transferring groceries and gas. So you see these right here, these are hoses. And they're pumping diesel fuel and jet fuel across this water right here. And these are hoses too. But you see that right there? That's a pallet of groceries. And that pallet is connected to this crane. And they'll take a forklift and they'll drive that forklift over to that crane. And then that thing, it's funny, this whole line will go, it'll come down. And then they'll hook it up. And then it'll go, it'll pop back up. And then as soon as it gets up to the top, it's the craziest thing. Then it just, and then glides across. And there's a thing like this in the hangar bay of this aircraft carrier. And so as this thing comes in and it stops up at the top, and then it goes, it brings it down to the hangar deck. And then a forklift picks it up and then takes it back to one of the ordnance elevators, and they drop it down into the stores, or what we call the storage room. And if it's milk, it goes in a refrigerated storage room. If it's cereal or other kinds of foodstuffs, then it may not go to refrigeration. It may go Or frozen stuff. Frozen stuff actually has an elevator that takes it down to the freezer. It's pretty cool. All right. Auxiliary ships. This is an oiler. Okay. Can carry not only fuel and ammunition, but also dry and refrigerated stores. Our ship, our oiler, was called the Monongahela. Monongahela. And it was named after a battle. So, actually, after a river, I think. But it was a battle.
It's
at a
in,
river.
the Monongahela River is in Pittsburgh.
Huh?
The Monongahela River is in Pittsburgh.
There you go. That's it. And I think it was a battle there, too.
I was there for 2 months. So.
Ooh, okay. Monongahela is a river in Pittsburgh. Though large and powerful, they move fast enough to keep up with a battle group for extended periods. Ships are particularly vulnerable to attack during underway replenishment, okay? And so it's important that the process happens quick. We usually do it before the sun comes up, and it's beautiful. Because we'll be out there. Unrep is kind of cool, because you get up at 0 dark 30, and you're like scratching and clawing to get it to the hangar deck. And you go out there, and you go out on the sponson, and you catch the wind in your face, and your eyes come open, and then you go back in, and then you get yourself some coffee, because the cooks have been up all night making donuts. The bakers have been making donuts all night. Yeah, they have a bakery on the ship, on the aircraft carrier. So we end up with boxes of donuts, and they have these big things of coffee. And you make a thing of coffee, grab yourself a donut or two, and you head out on the sponson. And you can see it. It's this. So here's the water, and it's just this dark indigo. And then you see, like right at the horizon, you see this faint line of pink. Faint line of pink. What do you think that pink is? It's the dawn coming. That's what it is. It's the dawn coming. And then it starts to get a little bit lighter, and the pink starts moving higher. Actually, the pink stays down. The light gets lighter and lighter and lighter. But it's cool though, because the AOE, the oiler, is up ahead, way up ahead, because we pull up to the oiler. And you'll see the helicopters. Helicopters be flying out there. They'll fly out to the oiler, and they'll go into a hover, and then they'll pick up a pallet of groceries, and they'll lift it up, and then they'll fly it back down range to the fantail of the aircraft carrier. And then they'll put that pallet down on the fantail, and where there's a forklift, they'll go over there and pick that up there and start loading and staging it on one of those big hydraulic elevators. And they'll put all the groceries down there. And if they're refrigerated, they don't put too many of them on there before they take them down to the hangar deck to get them into the refrigerator right away. So anyway, it's cool. It's such a cool experience. I don't know. I mean, I'm a sailor. The salt water's in my blood. I love being at sea. But underway replenishment is an exciting time for me. It just is. It's because I feel like a sailor during underway replenishment. It's the coolest feeling, because it's something about the deep indigo of the water and the pink line of the horizon, as the day gets brighter and brighter. And then there's so many different moving parts that are happening. You got the signalman, of course, you got sailors on their sound powered phones, and they're talking to the people on the other ship. And then just for kicks and giggles, you got the quartermasters up on the top side, and they're up there semaphoring. And they're semaphoring mostly because it's fun. They enjoy communicating that way because they're nerds like that. But they'll do that, but they're not talking about anything important. They're, what did you have for breakfast? What did y'all have surf and turf for supper last night? That kind of stuff is what they'll be talking about by semaphore. It's hand and arm signals. So. All right, the Chucky V, the USS Carl Vinson. And then this is the AOE. So this right here is that crane I was telling you about. And these are the pallets of groceries, and it'll zoom across to the Carl Vinson. All right, this is a USS Supply class ship. Is what this is. This is the USNS Arctic. Okay. So All right, rescue and salvage ship. These are what the divers, Navy divers, spend time on. These ships are really cool. They have hyperbaric chambers on them because the divers have to dive pretty deep and they'll work out there, work at depth, and then it takes them like an hour or two to come back up to the surface because they have so many decompression stops that they have to make along the way so that they don't get the bends, you know. And then once they get to the top, get topside, then they take them and they stick them in a hyperbaric chamber and put them on 100% oxygen for another 2 hours. But you know, divers, Navy divers, to be so Neanderthal, are incredibly smart. What do you think that they're doing while they're sitting around for hours? They're reading. They're reading. And they're not on their cell phones. You know why they can't be on their cell phones?
Because like the people could like spy and stuff.
Well, part of the thing is electronics can spark, right? Electronics can spark. If you're breathing 100% oxygen, then that's an oxygen-rich environment. And it's at pressure, so that oxygen is even more pressurized. You get a spark in there, you're gonna burn instantly. You're gonna burn up because of that oxygen-rich environment. You become fuel. So, see these divers, these Navy divers, these are hard hat divers. They got helmets. All right, customs or behaviors performed so long that they've become a common practice, traditions. Courtesies are expressions of consideration or respect for others, either by word or action. I salute Commander when we're covered and we're outdoors. I call him sir. He calls me chief. Things like that. Those are called courtesies that we have. All right, aboard ship, sailors salute the CO or visiting officer senior to the CO in every meeting. And they salute all other officers only on the first meeting of the day. Okay? All right, side honors. In this special ceremony, officials or officers boarding or leaving the ship are saluted by a group of sailors called side boys. All right? You will notice these females right here, these are old uniforms, but these females right here, what are they called? They're not side girls. They're side boys, all right? As side boy is the position. Don't read into it. It's not all men and all women. They're side boys. It's like midshipman. A midshipman is a midshipman. It's not a midshipwoman. Okay? A midshipman is a generalized name that's used for either sex of the student at the Naval Academy or of an ROTC. A side boy is applied to either sex of a person who's at the quarterdeck to salute a visiting dignitary. All right, this is at the quarterdeck. All right, bosun's mate of the watch will blow the whistle. All right, and when they pipe them aboard. What acronym is used for rescue and salvage ships? Let's see how many people get this right. Rescue and salvage ships. Hopefully you paid attention to my slide. Oh, we're almost done. That's good. Ready? You know what it is? Change it. Ready? Answer's B. It's an auxiliary ship, but it's a rescue and salvage ship. Okay, it's B. Did you get it right, Patience?
No, I put.
Did you change it from the right answer to the wrong answer? Homer. What type of ship is this? It's not a ship, it's a boat. What type of boat is this? Here we go. LCAC. LCAC is the correct answer. Huh? Did you? Good. Passing honors are performed when two naval vessels pass each other within 600 yards for ships and 400 yards for boats. For U.S. Navy and Coast Guard vessels and most foreign Navy vessels. When the vessels pass, you'll hear, "Attention!" When that's called, all sailors in view on the deck, give a hand salute, all right? But what will happen is technically you'll hear attention, and everybody will stop. They'll say attention, attention starboard side is what they'll do. And then everybody who's topside will turn and face the starboard side at the position of attention. Then you'll hear a whistle blast, and then they'll render a hand salute. And then they'll blow the whistle again, and then they'll drop the salute. And then they'll say, carry on, and everybody get back to work. Okay? National flag flies on the fantail or the stern of a ship. Okay? All right, color ceremony is when we put the flag up and when we take it down. When the ship's underway, the flag flies the whole time. So normally the flag goes up at 8 and it comes down at sunset. But on a ship that's underway, it flies from the mainmast and it stays flying. So it does get a little tired. This is the Union Jack. This is flown from the jack staff that's on the forward part of the ship, on the bow when it's in port. Y'all remember seeing the one with the snake across it? The red and white one with the snake across it at the beginning of the school year? You remember that? That's called the first Navy Jack. And we, during wartime, will fly that from the jack staff instead of the jack staff. Or the jack, I mean. The jack is just the star field of the U.S. flag. That's all it is. Yep, there it is. That's the first Navy Jack. All right, national anthem is included in the colors when we have colors in port, but we also will, after we play the national anthem, then we'll play the national anthem of whatever country it is that we're visiting at the time. All right, how cadets render honors during colors. You face the flag or you face the music. So you'll hear da-dum, da-dum, that means you stop. And then you'll face the music or you'll face the flag. And then you'll hear Do you drop your salute? No! You wait until you hear ba-da-da-ba-da-da-da-da-dum. Then you can drop your salute and start walking. Your salute and start walking. So, dude, I've lived it for 24 years. 24 years. All right. If you're in civilian clothes or athletic attire and you're on a military base and you hear ba-dum, ba-dum, stop. Face the music or the flag and just stand there. Stand at attention or whatever. All right, how you board when you're in uniform? As you come up the brow, this is the brow. As you come up the brow, you face aft to where the colors are being flown. If you're in uniform, you salute. And then you go back up the brow, and then you come to the quarterdeck. And they salute the petty officer of the watch. And you say, permission to go aboard. And then he'll return and say, permission granted. And you come aboard. And you leave following the same order. Right? If you're in civvies, as in civilian clothes, you don't salute. You face aft, come to attention, face aft, and then you walk up to the brow, and then you stand at attention, and you face the petty officer of the watch, and you say, permission to come aboard. Permission granted. And you leave the same way. All right, ships. Let's say you got to get to this submarine. But you've got to cross each of these ships to get there. So when you get up here, you don't say permission to come aboard. You say permission to cross over. But you salute the flag. You salute the petty officer of the watch. You say permission to come over. Cross over, he says. Permission granted. And then you go across. And then you face aft. And then you keep on going. And then you come to the next ship. You face aft. And then you face forward. And then you face the petty officer of the watch. You say permission to cross over. And you do that all the way across until you get to your submarine. It rarely happens. It's not that often. Okay. All right. So that's military etiquette. You hear gangway. Gangway means it's enlisted. All right. So if it's an officer, you say make a hold. Okay. All commanding officers are called captain. Okay. All right, national military strategy, really quick. Peaceful engagement, deterrence, and conflict prevention, fight and win wars. U.S. Navy seeks to fulfill its mission through strategic deterrence, sea control, projection of power ashore, and naval presence. The Navy operates a wide range of ships to accomplish its mission. The aircraft carrier is the center of the modern battle group. Keep going. In peace or tension, it projects forward presence in war. Carriers can fulfill their mission before the enemy can spot them.
Fifth platoon, dismiss.
USPNs are the backbone of strategic deterrence. Which flag is flown by the U.S. Navy on the jackstaff after 9/11? That is B. Okay. All right. Have a good day. Have a good day.